Listen, to be honest with you, he brought a lot of light that I didn't know about when it came to the sanctioning fees. And it seems like one big extortion game. I seen Floyd say it before, belts collect dust, the money is what really matters. So as long as he gets his money and everything else, I think we already know he's a perennial world champion, probably the pound-for-pound champion right now. So it doesn't really matter about the belts, even though you want the belts.
Terence Crawford, standing at the very top of the boxing world, just pulled off a move that stunned everyone, without even throwing a punch. He's made it crystal clear, he's not handing over $300,000 for a belt he already earned, telling the WBC to kick rocks. And he's not the only one speaking up. Hip-hop icon Cameron has stepped in to back him, calling out the fee system for what it really is, pure extortion. This isn't a simple business dispute, it's an outright uprising. And Crawford is making one thing undeniable. In 2025, the fighter is the real prize, not the belt.
Terence Crawford is no longer undisputed, and the reason why is everything that's wrong with boxing. The WBC has stripped Terence Crawford of his belt. Was he defeated? No, never. Did he test positive for steroids? Of course not. What he did do was refuse to pay them $300,000 for basically existing. Sanctioning bodies are the people who own all the belts. WBC, WBO, WBA, IBF. They're famously corrupt, make rules that make no sense, create mandatories, have rules that apply more to some fighters and less to others, and they deserve no money.
In early December, reports surfaced that the WBC had officially stripped Terence Crawford of his super middleweight title. Normally, a fighter loses a belt by getting knocked out or outboxed. Crawford lost his because he refused to send a $300,000 wire transfer to WBC headquarters. After defeating Canelo Alvarez and securing a massive payday, the sanctioning body showed up for their share.
He did not comply with the rules, then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
Most fighters simply grit their teeth and pay the fee just to keep undisputed attached to their name. But Crawford isn't like most fighters. He went public with a response as sharp and impactful as one of his counterpunches. He flat out told the organization to kick rocks. His reasoning was simple yet brutal. The WBC's green belt is nothing more than an accessory. He noted that the Ring magazine title, widely considered the true People's Championship, is completely free. Crawford emphasized that he's the one risking his life and health inside the ring, not the executives in suits firing off emails. By refusing to pay, he didn't just save $300,000. He directly challenged the entire power structure of modern boxing.
Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000? What makes you so motherfucking better than any other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit, the fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanctioned bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanctioned bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you? The fuck? You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway.
Cameron argued that Crawford shed major light on the situation simply by saying, No. The media storm that followed him being stripped of the title has actually brought Crawford more attention than paying the fee ever could. And that only reinforces Cameron's point. The organization needs the fighter to give the belt value, but the fighter no longer needs the belt to secure their legacy. When a cultural figure like Cameron publicly supports a boxer's business decision, it goes beyond sports. It becomes a pop culture moment. He understands exactly how the system works. Organizations attach themselves to a star's rising value and demand a share of the harvest, despite never doing any of the planting. To further drive home his defense of Crawford, Cameron dug into the archives and referenced the philosophy of Floyd "Money" Mayweather. Years ago, Mayweather famously said that belts collect dust. The money is what truly matters.
Floyd, November 4th, you're finally fighting for the undisputed title. I mean, share your thoughts on that.
I'm fighting for the WBC title. I'm not fighting for the undisputed title. I'm fighting for the WBC title.
Yeah, but if you look at it, he beat the man who was undisputed, the man who beat the man.
Wait, I only go by stats. I'm not fighting for the undisputed title because I'm not paying 3 sanctioning fees. I'm fighting for the WBC welterweight championship.
Back then, many people thought Floyd was just being arrogant, but Cameron points out that he was really laying down a blueprint for independence. Crawford is now walking that very same path. He understands that his bank account doesn't change because of a leather strap with a gold plate attached to it.
Right now, about the sport of boxing, I don't want everybody at home to hear me when I say this. A belt, I'm tired and I'm at home, and this goes for any company. I don't care if it's Top Rank, if it's Golden Boy, if it's Mayweather Promotions, if it's PBC. There's too many champions in the sport of boxing right now. Too many champions. It's not a such thing as a super champion, not at all. And I'm not taking nothing away from no fighter. It's too many belts. And the reason why is let me tell people what's going on in the sport of boxing, why there are so many different titles and so many different belts. People don't know you have to pay for every belt that you win, there's a sanctioning fee. So now if a fighter wins an interim belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. If a fighter has just the regular belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. Then if a fighter is a super champion, then he has to pay a sanctioning fee. This is not good for the sport of boxing. When a fighter fights, every fighter is a champion. Now, after you see no belts, is like a fighter winning an amateur trophy. Everybody's a champion. Everybody have a belt.
By embracing this mindset, Crawford is proving he has moved far beyond the belts, a feeling echoed by fans all over social media. The sanctioning bodies are scrambling, because their entire business model depends on fighters caring about the prestige of a title. If the pound-for-pound king decides the belt is meaningless, its value collapses instantly. Cameron's analysis ties Floyd's past strategy to Crawford's current defiance, revealing that this isn't random. It's the natural evolution of the modern prizefighter. The real prize is the paycheck, not the trinket.
If you had to choose between winning world titles but being broke, or not winning titles but making billions, which would you choose and why?
When I was younger, I would say winning world titles, because remember, we fight so many fights as an amateur for free. The only thing you get is trophies, and you cherish those trophies. Pretty boy Floyd would say winning titles. Money Mayweather would choose the money.
What feels better and why?
Together they feel the best, the greatest feeling in the world.
Naturally, the WBC wasn't about to take this quietly. President Mauricio Suleiman fired back, calling Crawford's refusal a disrespectful slap in the face. He attempted to shift the narrative by revealing that the $300,000 fee was actually a steep discount from their usual 3% cut, and that most of it, $225,000, was supposedly earmarked for a charity fund supporting retired fighters. It was a clear attempt to make Crawford appear greedy or selfish, framing the organization as a charitable force rather than a business protecting its bottom line.
You should be paying me. I don't see it irks my nerves how this dude gets on a plane, gets a hotel suite, him and his buddies, they go out to dinner, 5-star meals, all that, and guess who gotta pay for it? Us fighters. We paying for y'all to come out here, have the time of y'all life, stay in the best hotels of your life, and it's all done on our dime. It's done on our dime. Do that sound right to y'all? It's crazy, ain't it? We the one out there getting battered, knocked upside our head, and every time we step foot in the ring, we gotta pay them a sanction fee like they the government. We getting taxed. It's crazy. Then he said, allegedly, I made X amount of money. You don't know how much I made. You don't know how much I made. Once again, you're speculating. You're speculating.
However, that guilt trip tactic didn't land the way the WBC expected. Instead of turning fans against Crawford, it sparked even more questions. Why should active fighters be responsible for funding the retirement of past fighters? And shouldn't an organization that has been collecting fees for decades already have its own retirement fund? The whole explanation felt like a deflection. Fans and analysts quickly saw through the PR spin. The reality is simple. Demanding $300,000 from a man who just went to war in the ring feels disproportionate, no matter where they claim the money is going. Cameron's defense applies here as well. You can't tell a fighter how to spend his money, especially when he's the one absorbing the punches. There's also a deeper layer to the situation, one Cameron highlighted, that explains why Crawford feels zero loyalty toward the industry establishment. He brought up the blackball theory, the idea that, for years, promoters like Bob Arum deliberately kept superstars such as Manny Pacquiao away from Crawford. Cameron reinforced Crawford's long-held belief that he would have beaten a prime Pacquiao or even Oscar de la Hoya.
Say that one more time.
He was mentioning on Twitter when he was, responding to all that stuff. He was saying, "Hey, I would have beat you, Oscar. I would have beat Pac-Man." Do you agree if they would have fought in their primes, he would have beat Oscar or beat Pac-Man?
I remember he was with Bob Arum trying to fight Pac-Man, and Bob Arum wouldn't set that fight up. So to me, that's, even though we didn't know Crawford like we know him today, when I seen that back then, I seen there was a problem why Bob Arum wouldn't make that fight happen. And I was saying, now both under Bob Arum, what the fuck you not making the fight happen for? So he might have some truth to that. I have no idea. Oscar was a hell of a fighter as well. But as we can see, Terence Crawford's a hell of a fighter, 42-0. Not that for a reason, but I think it'd be interesting. It's always a woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I know one thing. I think they was definitely, the promoters was ducking that Pac-Man smoke. I don't know about Oscar, but definitely about Oscar.
The industry recognized Crawford as a threat, so they froze him out to protect their cash cows. Now that he has clawed his way to the top through undeniable skill, he remembers who supported him and who didn't. He recalls being the high-risk, low-reward fighter nobody wanted to touch. Today, as a high-reward superstar, the same people who once ignored him now demand a cut of his success. Cameron's insight is key here. It frames Crawford not as arrogant, but as a man who understands his worth after years of being undervalued. He isn't burning bridges. He's acknowledging that those bridges were never built for him in the first place. And Cameron isn't alone in championing this rebellion. The sentiment has spread to other major media platforms, including Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochinko Johnson. They were outraged, questioning why an organization feels entitled to such a massive portion of a purse they didn't fight for. When NFL legends and hip-hop icons align in criticizing the boxing business model, it signals a profound shift in public perception.
Everybody accepted the same amount of money after those fights. And for some reason, regardless of what was written, regardless of what you just read, they wanted more for him to be able to attain and hold on to the WBC belt. And he was like, nah, I'm not paying more. And then they want an apology of some sort. And I mean, it's a mess. But I mean, I understand it. I can see it from Crawford's standpoint in a sense. Obviously, something is wrong with it and he doesn't see fit. And for him to go off the way he did, which is uncharacteristic of him, very uncharacteristic of him. So, I mean, I have no choice but to be on his side because this is something that he wouldn't do.
Yeah. You gotta pay the box.
No, you gotta pay.
Well, you gotta pay
Hey,
for the
Joe,
belt.
them belts cost, Joe. You gotta pay. You gotta pay a sanction fee for them belts.
I ain't paying for no trophy.
Yeah, Joe, you gotta pay. You gotta pay a fee to keep the belts.
Hold on. So, cause I seen when Bud won, he went back and gave Canelo out.
Because those
they make new belts.
New ones, yeah.
They make new belts. But when they make the new belts,
you gotta pay for all them new belts.
Yeah, you gotta pay for them belts, boy. Yeah. Yeah, when you see fighters coming to the ring, you gotta pay a sanctioning fee for them belts, Joe, to keep them. And if you don't pay the fee, then they take them. They'll strip them from you.
You don't fight a mandatory, they'll take the belt from you. If you don't pay the sanctioning fee, they'll take them from you.
Yeah.
This isn't just about one fighter refusing to pay a fee. It's a union moment without a union. Athletes across sports are beginning to realize that they are the true product, while the organizations are merely service providers. And if the service provider charges too much, you simply cut them off. Crawford's defiance has inspired other fighters to scrutinize where their sanctioning fees are going. Support from voices like Cameron amplifies this message, reaching casual fans who may not understand all the intricacies of boxing politics, but immediately grasp the idea of being ripped off.
Strip Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford had some issues to say about it, talking about sanctioning fees, things like that. Just what's your take on that whole thing?
Man, I'll say this: Terence Crawford is my boy. You know what I mean? I had a good relationship with him, and I don't know what him and the WBC got going on. But all I can say is the WBC changed my life. I'm behind them 100%. I've talked to them about where the sanctioning fees and stuff go. They was willing to sit down and explain to me each part, and I'm all with helping if the sanctioning fees goes to the former fighters or the fighters that's been damaged through the sport or whatever. You know, I'm with that. So that's all I can say, man. The WBC changed my life, so I'm behind them.
In the end, Terence Crawford walked away with his $300,000, his reputation untarnished, and arguably more respect than ever. He may have lost a belt, but he gained a legacy as the man who stared down the system and didn't flinch. Cameron's defense of the champ underscores a new era in sports media, where real talk outweighs polished PR from major organizations. The belts might be collecting dust, just as Mayweather said, but the message couldn't be clearer. As long as fighters like Crawford continue to expose the extortion game, power will keep shifting back to the people actually throwing the punches. It leaves us with one final question. If the best fighter on the planet says a belt doesn't matter, does it really matter at all? That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.